Hey guys, welcome back to Super Top 10s. Today, we'll talk about 10 of the scariest horror movies. Let's head into it. Number 10. The Babadook. Monsters lurking in the home. The Babadook has become one of the most legendary horror movies of recent years. And it works as a scary movie because the monstrous Babadook doesn't hide its creepy locations, but lurks instead in the family house of single mom, Amelia, and her son Noah. Our homes are supposed to be our sanctuary, but this is certainly not the case with the Babadook, which features plenty of jump scare moments, including the terrifying scene when Amelia first realizes that the Babadook really is in her home. Number 9. A Quiet Place. Tension from start to finish. Many horror fans would not consider A Quiet Place to be a part of the genre, but when it comes to keeping an audience on the edge of their seat, few movies have done it better. Viewers often find themselves holding their breath and trying their best to remain quiet themselves while watching John Krasinski's 2018 movie, A Quiet Place. And while there are some genuine jump scare moments, the real terror comes from the fear that the family themselves when they accidentally make a sound.
The people that are left, they're not the kind of people worth saving.
Number 8. The Conjuring. Based on true events, the Science of Scare study by Broadband Choices found that The Conjuring was the scariest horror franchise of all time, as it was the only franchise to have 2 of its movies in the top 20. The first movie, simply called The Conjuring, was released in 2013, but there have now been 2 sequels and several spin-offs. All use the usual trick to scare their audience, but perhaps the scariest thing about these movies is that they are based on the real-life exploits of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Number 7. Paranormal Activity. Found footage in the late 90s, the Blair Witch Project are a craze of so-called found footage movies. These were the movies that pretended to be true stories by using what was claimed to be real footage of supernatural happenings. One of the most successful franchises was the Paranormal Activity, which consisted mainly of the CCTV footages from inside the home of a couple who had been plagued by ghostly events. Impressive special effects made the CCTV footage look real, and the lead actors often didn't know what would be happening and had to improvise a response. Number 6. The Ring. Truly terrifying villain. Japan is infamous for its impressive horror movies, and Hollywood remakes have not always been as successful. The remake of The Ring, starring Naomi Watts, was in many ways most frightening than the original, thanks to more jump scares, but the bad guy was same in both movies. A creepy young woman with black hair hanging over her face who pursues her targets of their death. The first time that Samara crawls out of the TV is one of the most memorable horror movie scenes ever.
And this boy says,
Number 5. Insidious. James Wan could easily claim to have taken over the Wes Craven as the new king of horror, thanks to his successful Saw, Conjuring, and Insidious movie franchise. While the first to rely on blood and guts and jump scare moments, Insidious is a little more grown up. Although there are still enough scary scenes to set the pulse racing, the best thing about Insidious is the genuinely engaging storyline, which provides more plot twist that wouldn't be out of place in a big budget Hollywood thriller. Number 4. The Descent. Claustrophobic terror. The Descent is a horror movie with a difference, with the movie escaping heroines put themselves in a situation that at first seems to be scary for very normal reasons, only to find out there is something supernatural trapped with them in the depths of the earth. This is definitely not a movie for anyone claustrophobic. Number 3. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Classic slasher movie. Slasher movies were in their heyday in the 1980s when the movie franchises like Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street made their debut. The antagonist was the star of these movies, not his victims. In the Elm Street, that was the sinister Freddy Krueger who haunted the dreams of terrified teens. Krueger's exploits may have been inspired by a terrifying true story, but the idea that there was no escaping a villain who could kill you in your sleep was a petrifying prospect back in 1984. Number 2. Hereditary. Like The Conjuring and Paranormal Activity, the scariest thing about Netflix horror flicks Hereditary is that it feels very normal and realistic, the kind of situation that any of us could find ourselves in. Excellent acting skills of lead Toni Collette are also important to Hereditary, as it is her reactions to the crazy events going on around her which makes the movie so spine-tingling. The first shock may not come until 30 minutes into the movie, but it is one that is well worth waiting for.
Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room.
Number 1. Sinister. A good old-fashioned haunting. The 2012 horror movie Sinister came out on top in the Science of the Scare study, making it significantly the most frightening scary movie of all time. Ethan Hawke plays a crime writer who moves his wife and children into the house when a bloody murder took place years before. It's hardly surprising that the families soon find themselves terrorized by the things that go bump in the night. The study found that the viewers had an average heart rate of 86 beats per minute while watching Sinister, compared to the resting heart rate of 65 beats per minute. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.